Hi, I'm Shoua Vang, and I'm presenting about the Hmong people. I myself am Hmong. The Hmong are a group of people originally from the mountainous regions of southern China, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar, and Thailand. There are only 18 last names, and the three most common are Vang, Yang, and Li. As you can see, I am part of the Vang clan, so I guess that's a way to identify a Hmong person. So, what's the story of the Hmong people? Well, the Hmong people were recruited by the United States to fight against communism from Vietnam. They fought alongside the United States in the Vietnam War, which evolved into the Secret War. General Vang Pao, a well-respected leader of the Hmong, led the Hmong to battle and worked with the CIA in this war. Unfortunately, the war was not in the United States' favor. So what happens when you're losing a fight? You run. And that's what the United States did. They withdrew from the war, allowing General Vang Pao and other high-ranked officials and their families to flee the country of Laos with them and the rest of the Hmong people. Well, they were left to fend for themselves in the deep jungles, running away from the communists. On a good note, it wasn't the end for the Hmong. There was a shot at life for them across the Mekong River to Thailand. If they were fortunate enough, they were able to get through the jungles, swim across the river, and find refuge in the refugee camps in Thailand, which many Hmong people successfully did. In December of 1975, the first 3,500 Hmong were flown to the United States. The largest wave of Hmong immigrants arrived in the United States in the 1980s. You may wonder, why did they choose to immigrate to the United States when they left Hmong to fend for themselves post-war? Remember the guy, General Vang Pao? Again, he was a significant man in the Hmong history. Because of him and his military ties with the United States, the Hmong had the opportunity to immigrate to the United States. Now, in the land of the American dream, the Hmong did their best to adapt to the new environment and begin a new chapter of their lives. Although there are many challenges, such as the language barrier and cultural differences, they were able to embrace their cultural roots and traditions in the United States. Today, we celebrate Hmong New Year annually. We share this celebration with the people all over the country. It is a time to get together with family and loved ones and celebrate the new year with a positive and fresh outlook. The biggest celebration of New Year's is in Fresno, California, followed by the Twin Cities of Minnesota. If you ever go to the Hmong New Year, you will always see couples ball tossing. It is not your typical ball tossing in a sports perspective. Young men and young women ball toss as a way of courtship. Traditionally in Laos, everyone would be too busy working all year round with their crops and farm animals and had no time to seek relationships. Therefore, ball tossing was the way to go. A popular aspect of the Hmong New Year is the beauty pageant. Hmong women showcases their knowledge and talents in the competition. Many of these young women have contributed to the Hmong community and the people who are still in Laos and Thailand. They provide scholarships for youth and organize donations and fundraisers for the families in Laos and Thailand. At New Year's, you also get to see the Hmong young men perform, playing a traditional Hmong instrument called the qing. It creates beautiful music that can be used for entertainment at the New Year's or used traditionally at funerals. And of course, my favorite thing about New Year's is the food. For some reason, the Hmong food just tastes a whole lot better when you buy it at Hmong New Year's. Some popular items are boba drinks, papaya salad, sticky rice, and Hmong sausage, as you can see in the picture. Another beautiful thing about Hmong New Year's is that it is the time when the Hmong can wear their traditional Hmong clothing. It comes in all sorts of styles, which have evolved over time. People typically dress accordingly to the region their ancestors settled back in Laos. Hmong New Year is a time to have fun and celebrate, but of course, there are more serious things that also take place. The Hmong practice a cultural tradition called Not Pecha, or 8:30, as we call it here. The man of the household will cook a meal and call ancestors to come eat and ask for blessings for the new year. I promise it is not as scary as it sounds, but it is more of a bittersweet moment to remember loved ones who have passed away. In addition to this tradition, the Hmong fold paper boats with special paper. These symbolize money in the afterlife. They fold these paper boats and burn them for their ancestors to use in the afterlife in return for blessings. Since I'm on the topic of cultural stuff, that brings me to the shaman rituals. The Hmong people believe in healing practices that are gifted to healers, called shamans, or Nianeng and Zineng. These individuals help care the sick spiritually and are well respected in the community. Not everyone can be a shaman because those healers are spiritually called. Another cultural practice that is significant to the Hmong community is the funeral procedure. Funerals consist of crucial aspects that the Hmong people believe to help the spirit of the deceased return to the afterlife. People fold paper money into beautiful structures for the deceased to use in the afterlife, which is similar to E30 or the Napikyo. I mentioned the qing earlier and how it is important. It is an important part of funerals. Men play traditional tunes with the qing that leads the soul of the deceased on their journey to the afterlife. There is also a special drum called lundua that goes hand in hand with the qing to guide the soul. Now moving on to something more positive. Hmong weddings, when a couple gets married, their Hmong wedding also consists of significant aspects to celebrate their marriage. It usually starts with negotiation discussions between both sides of the family. The main thing that is discussed is the dowry, and the groom's family gives the bride's parents. After negotiations, the couple wears traditional Hmong clothes and are given blessings from families and loved ones, by which they tie white strings onto the couple while giving their blessings. It's sad to say that many of these traditions are not the same as they used to be, and they have been simplified and Americanized, but they still hold cultural roots of the Hmong people.